Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Just because whatever happens in Israel happens, and doesn't mean that we have to just be focused on that. We should also be focused on our people and look what's going on in Ukraine, where our people kill one another because other from our people decide that they should do the job through the Ukrainians. So, what's going on the Ukrainian front? The Russians try to break the front and conduct offensive operations on multiple fronts. We have three articles here. I'm going to come with Ukrainska Pravda first. So here is the first one. Russia prepares for new offensive, accumulates artillery munition, Estonian Defense Intelligence says. Well, if the Estonian intelligence says, must be true, correct? Correct. Well, we're going to put that together with some other articles, obviously. I'm going to jump to the next one, which is, again, from Ukrainska Pravda. Russians tried to launch an assault on Avdiivka front. 20 attacks repelled. That means the Russians are trying, and the other guys, according to the Ukrainians, are stopping them. So the Russians are not able yet in Avdiivka. Where is Avdiivka? All right, here is the front, my friends. Right there. So Avdiivka is right here. This is Avdiivka in the Donetsk Oblast. So Avdiivka is right here. This is where the Russians, one front where they try to break through. The other one is going to be here in Kupiansk, Lyman. And the Ukrainians used to try here, but nothing happens anymore here. So Avdiivka. Let's go to the article here with the Avdiivka. Let's see what these guys are saying. So, the General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces announced that the defense forces repelled 20 Russian attacks on the Avdiivka front on the evening of 20th of October. So, today is October 20th. There were 77 combat clashes over the course of the past 24 hours. The Russians launched 5 missile and 33 airstrikes in total and carried out 32 attacks using multiple launch rocket systems on the positions of Ukrainian troops and settlements. On the Kupiansk front, so we're going to go to Kupiansk. Where is Kupiansk? I'm going to jump next. Kupiansk, as I said, is right here. This is Kupiansk, and the Russians have been advancing here, and the Ukrainians conducted a, evacuation about what, between 30 and 50 settlements last time I checked. So what's going on in Kupiansk? Let's see. In Kupiansk front, Ukrainian soldiers repelled around 20 Russian attacks near Sinkivka and Ivanivka in Kharkiv Oblast, and 3 more attacks near Nadia in Luhansk Oblast. So we're going to jump to the third article, and then we're going to come back here to see what's in Lyman. Lyman is a little bit south of Kupiansk. Ukrinform tells us that Ukrainian armed forces repelled 30 assault attacks in Kupiansk direction. This guy said 20, but hey, we forgive them, okay? Adverse weather conditions have not affected the active assault operations of the Russian troops in the Kupiansk direction, but they are not successful, and the Ukrainian armed forces are holding their positions. So, the situation in the Kupiansk direction is very difficult at the moment. That means it's even worse than these guys. When I say it's difficult or dynamic, that means they're in the ropes, doing a rope-a-dope. Our soldiers repelled 30 attacks there over the last day. These actions were assault attacks. That is, the enemy, despite the weather conditions we have, which would not be favorable for active assault operation, is still going for it. We clearly understand their plans. Our soldiers are standing on the battlefield, but we must not forget the price of such a hold. That's true. So he noted that the enemy attacks come in waves, after each of which the invaders are forced to retreat and recover, and again. Former Russian prisoners, as well as regular and mobilized Russian military personnel, are taking part in the assaults. And I'm quoting, there are, so to speak, combined groups that operate, of course, with the support of artillery, heavy artillery, and equipment. As reported, about 15 localities in the Kharkiv region came under fire under the past day. 3 civilians were injured. I don't believe that because the Russians denied it. as the Israelis denied attacking that hospital there, and that was taken as proof. I will give the Russians the same right to no, and we will have to use the same logic. If Russia says no, we didn't, then it's not, because the Israelis said no, we didn't destroy that hospital in Gaza, and the mass media here said they didn't, man, they did not. Okay, so if you take it that way, take the Russians just like a face value statement. Of course you will not you, but these weasels, because we're supposed to be fair. So here is Kupiansk right here. We will go to Lyman, south, to the other article right here. On the Lyman front, the armed forces of Ukraine repelled a Russian attack near east of Nevsky in Luhansk Oblast. The defense forces repelled another 10 attacks on the Bakhmut front in the areas of Avdiivka, Kromovye, and Klishchivka in Donetsk Oblast. Bakhmut is south of Lyman. So you have Kupiansk here, you have Lyman here, and you have Bakhmut here in the Artemovsk. That's how they call it, right here. This is Artemovsk. And then we're going to go from Artemovsk, going to go to Avdiivka right here. So remember, this is it. Right here, okay, Kupiansk, we go to Lyman, go to Bakhmut, go to Avdiivka, and used to be Marinka down here. So let's go back to this article. The Russians used aircraft to carry out unsuccessful offensive operations near Avdiivka, Novokalyonove, Stepove, and Papapap in Donetsk Oblast on the Avdiivka front. The defense forces repelled 20 Russian attacks there. Ukrainian defenders repelled more than 15 Russian attacks near Marinka, south, and in Donetsk Oblast on the Marinka front. Now they tell us about Shakhtarsk. The armed forces of Ukraine repelled Russian attacks in Shakhtarsk. The Russians carried out unsuccessful offensive operations in Zaporizhzhia and the Zaporizhzhia front. So everywhere where you can read here, now let me show you what they were talking about. Zaporizhzhia is right here. All this front right here, aside from what, Kherson area, so Zaporizhzhia, then you have Donetsk, you have Luhansk, and then you have Kharkiv. All this front, the Russians are trying to break through. They are in an offensive operation, not the Ukrainians. So this is coming from the Ukrainians, not from the Russians. So they must be trusted. And remember, every time the Ukrainians say, well, we advanced 10 meters, that means they advanced probably 3. And when they say the Russians advanced, I don't know, 10 meters, probably they advanced 30 meters. And probably the same thing, the Russians, but they don't go by 3, they go by 2. So when the Russians said, we advanced 10 meters, they advanced only 5. When they say the Ukrainians were pushed back, I don't know, 100 meters, that means they were pushed back 50 meters, so half. So here it is, my friends. Who's conducting offensive operations? The invaders. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just. Remember, more people die in this one right here than in that thing over there. Our people are dying more. But anyway, the Americans have their own, how do you call it, level of who's important and who's not important, priorities. See you later, my friends.